It's possible everyone, if you give them permission, your team members can also personalize the page just for themselves. If they go up to the little menu that's up here for everybody, they can click personalize this page, and it will personalize it just for them. And you'll see I'm editing the personal version of this page. And when I move stuff around on here or delete things, that just affects me. It doesn't affect anyone else that views the page. They'll still see the master page or their own personalized version of the page. So that lets people easily set things up the way they want. Okay. Let's take a look at some of the features that we have here. First, let's take a look at our team members. This is my example team. We've got 3 people on this team right now. This team it's a SharePoint group. You can create your own groups in SharePoint and put people in it, all managed through SharePoint. And then you assign permissions to that group to the different sites or different lists or databases, however you want to. You can email enable that group. Right here you see my example group has an email address. When I send an email to them, it sends an email to everybody in the group. I also have the group set up with an email archive. And when I've set that up, anything that I email not only goes to the group, but also gets stored in an email archive. See, this is a sample email that I sent. And there's some replies that were also sent back when somebody hit reply. So we've got a good way to keep track of all of the communications that go on with the group if you want to do that. Another nice feature is kind of calendar enabled that group. Anytime you send an appointment request, a meeting request in Outlook to the team's email, it not only sends it to the individual people so they can put it on their Outlook calendar, it also puts it on the team calendar here on SharePoint. And you'll see there's some test appointments that I sent to the group. They went to the group members as well as being put on the calendar. So that's a cool way you can keep track of. You have one place you can always go to look for all of the appointments. Everybody should know they're there, and it's an easy way to get it to them. So it's on their calendar as well as your team calendar. Nice and slick. Let's see. Let's go back to our team members here. And of course, it's with the groups that you set the permissions for your site. If you have your different teams, you want to give only permissions so only your team can make changes. Like here I have a general legal aid staff. That's everybody that we have in the organization. I've got this set up a little special because it's an example site. Usually you might only have them being able to read stuff. And then the members on your particular team, they can contribute stuff or make changes. And then you can have yourself or whoever being the administrator for the site. They can do everything. So you set up all those permissions. It's a fairly friendly interface right there in SharePoint. You don't have to worry about NTFS permissions or Active Directory stuff or anything like that once you've got SharePoint set up. Okay. Let's take a look at probably one of the major features of SharePoint is document libraries. This is our main document library for our team. This can be the place where you put all of your documents. And it can work just like in Explorer. You can have folders and subfolders with documents inside them. We used a little breadcrumb bar here to go back up to the top. Okay. There's lots of ways that you can get documents into your library. Using the menu here, you can use the new menu, create a new document right there if you want to. You can upload an existing document if you want to. You know, I'm browse for my document, hit OK, and I'll upload it into the library. I can also view my library in Windows Explorer. This is a really cool thing. You just go to the Actions menu here, hit Open with Windows Explorer, and it'll open Windows Explorer right there with all your documents. And it's just like you're used to. And you'll see there's all my documents, there's my folders. I can go back up. You know, I can change my views, icons, however I want to do it. And you'll see if you look in the address bar, you'll see the little, that's similar to the address you type in your web browser. There's Connect, Teams, Example, Documents. That's really cool. It's very, very nicely integrated into the operating system. You know, I can just open documents just by double-clicking on them right here. I can drag documents in here. If I have from a different window, a different Explorer window open, I can just drag a document over, plop it into here into my document library, and vice versa, of course. And you can do all the different standard file operations. You can do all these, you know, rename them, delete them, all kinds of things like that. Very nice. So you don't have to stay within the web browser. You can do stuff in Explorer like that. And as you can see, like I set up in the address bar, you'll see that //connect/teams. those are shares that SharePoint setups for you automatically, and you can map drives to those if you like. So I could have a T drive that's mapped to connect Teams. I can map that in my login script or however I'd like, so that if people are used to going through drive letters to get to their documents, they can still do that the same way. You as the administrator set up a drive letter that goes to that, to wherever you want to on the SharePoint site, and there they are. They don't have to go through the website if they don't want to. It's very nice. Lots of options like that. And you can see a lot of the other options. We'll look through the menus here. As we saw with a lot of the other features, you can do standard stuff here. Like you can get an alert anytime anybody uploads a document or deletes a document, that kind of thing. You can view your document library with RSS, so you can get alerts that way as well. And let's look at one of the really interesting features that document libraries allow you to do. They're called content types. And that's basically you set up a certain type of document that has certain attributes that go along with it, and you make sure those attributes are put in. And using an example, here's the best way to see that. So I set up this example content type. So let's create a new document based on that. There's our little security warnings. And it should bring up Word with a new document. And that I set it up to have some preset content, so we can add some more stuff. And let's go ahead and save that document. Okay. And we get our save window here, and you can see a nice window right here. It's a little fancy HTML rendered window of our document library for the example team. Pretty cool. Drop down the little drop down here, you can see it's going through web folders, connect teams, example documents. So it's the same interface that they're used to, really. Just a little nicer look in there. Let's call this sample document 2. And then when I hit the save button, up comes this properties window here. These are properties that I've set up for this type of document that have to be entered anytime someone saves a document of this type into the document library. This allows me to associate bits of data with this document. And I can say this document was meant for our Ravenna office with the helpline, you know, and it's a great document. You can put whatever types of bits of information you want to in here, and then it's saved with a document, and you can search on those properties that you've associated with the document. If you remember back when we went to the Search Center, if you did an advanced search, you could pick a property. And I haven't set it up yet, but you can set it up so you have those properties listed in here. We'll be using this with our client education materials. We set up a property, you know, for all the brochures we have in here. We'll have a little drop-down that says, what's the area that this covers? Bankruptcy or foreclosure, things like that. And then I can go search for all the brochures that I have that cover bankruptcy, for example. It's a very powerful way to organize all of your documents. Let's go ahead and save that. Okay. And we'll close that. And it's going to ask me here when I've closed it out if I want to check it in. That's another thing that I've turned on for this library is checkout and history. It's a powerful way of managing your documents. Let's go back to our document library here. If we, let's take a look at this document with history that I set up. If we look at the options for the document here, one of the things I can do is I can check the document out. You could turn on checkout if you want to. That requires somebody to check out the document before they work on it. And when a document's checked out, no one else can work on it. That keeps you from overwriting each other's versions. So I go ahead and check out the document. And now it's, and you'll see it has this little arrow, means it's checked out to me. Okay? And then I can go ahead and edit it in Microsoft Word. Okay? And put in some more stuff. And while we're here, we'll notice what comes up in Microsoft Word and any of the Microsoft applications is this task pane here, this shared workspace. And you can see right in here it tells me this document is checked out to me. And I can check it in right now if I want to. There's other things on information from this site. Some of it's useful, some of it's not. This shows me those team members that I showed you earlier. If I had some tasks assigned to me, they would show up here. Oh, there's tasks right there. Here's other documents in the document library. This is the links, which we'll show you in a little bit. Here's those little properties I was telling you about. You can set them up here in the task pane. So there's lots of interesting things that lots of integration with the Office applications that you get right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this document and close it. And now I can check